Imagine a force so overwhelming that nothing in existence could withstand it. No rival, no obstacle, no boundary. Absolute strength is more than mere dominance, it is the embodiment of the impossible made true. But what depiction captures this power at its peak? Standing as the ultimate fusion of Saiyan pride and relentless power, Super Vegito in Dragon Ball Z embodies absolute strength like no other, a warrior so unmatched that even a godlike foe was reduced to helplessness. What makes this depiction of power so legendary, and why does it endure as the pinnacle of raw, unyielding dominance? In this video, I'll be explaining just that and so much more as to why I personally find Vegito to be the greatest depiction of absolute strength in media, and why he's aged so well even after his first appearance 30 years ago. If you enjoy content such as this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to let me know to do more, and let's get into it. Goku is the protagonist of Dragon Ball and is someone who has overcome every single challenge in his way. From King Piccolo, who took over the entire world, to Frieza, the self-proclaimed dominator of the universe, no challenge has ever been too great for Goku, and he would take on each and every foe and find a way to either match or surpass them, whether it be through training or a new transformation. No matter how bad things got, one thing was guaranteed: Goku will get the job done. But eventually, an overwhelming foe would enter into the story, one that cannot be stopped, one said to be avoided at all costs. Nothing short of calamity itself, Majin Buu. Majin Buu was unlike any opponent Goku and his allies had ever faced. He wasn't just overwhelmingly powerful, but he was a force of chaos and destruction, capable of wiping out entire planets with ease. But what made Buu truly terrifying was his unpredictability and his adaptability. No matter how strong his opponents were, Buu always seemed to evolve, absorbing their power, regenerating from devastating attacks, and growing stronger every single battle. Scarily enough, it was almost as if the cast was dealing with Goku himself. But Buu did not fight to challenge himself or to protect others. He destroyed purely for the thrill of it, embodying a kind of malice that made him seem unstoppable. The Z fighters would try everything in their arsenal to defeat Buu, from Goku Super Saiyan 3 to Fusion to Gohan's ultimate form, but nothing would work, and even worse, Buu would eventually manage to absorb Gohan and Gotenks, exponentially increasing his already unparalleled power. Every effort from there on only prolonged the inevitable, and the fate of the universe would hang by a thread. Goku and Vegeta were the only ones left, but they were already weaker than Gohan, who stood no chance against an even weaker Buu. And now that Buu had the power of Gohan himself, the two Saiyans stood no chance and almost got decimated. It was in this dire moment when all seemed lost that the Potara earrings came into play. Fusion had been a key concept in the series before, as we've seen with Gotenks allowing Goten and Trunks to match the power of Majin Buu once combined. But the Potara earrings promised something far greater, an ultimate union of strength and skill that would create a warrior capable of taking on even the most powerful enemies. But the main issue was Vegeta. He was refusing to utilize his power to overcome Majin Buu, attempting to go about it the usual way. But of course, Goku reminds them that everybody they know and love are gone, and that they're the only hope of the universe. They must use these earrings. And thus, Vegeta eventually complies, and the stage is set for Super Vegito, the only response to an unstoppable enemy. As the battle begins, we're quickly made aware of the vast difference in power between the two fighters. Buu, who had been beating down on the entire cast of the show until this entire moment, was nothing but a grain of sand compared to Vegito. For those unaware, Buu with Gohan absorbed was already far more powerful than Goku, as he was a combination of power of the three strongest characters in the series plus Piccolo. So Vegito coming in and making extremely light work of Buu was surprising to me when I first saw it as a child, as I thought Buu would be able to at least put up a fight like all the other antagonists did after the heroes would receive a massive power up. And if Vegito's insane power didn't get through your head in the first 10 minutes, Akira Toriyama would make sure to beat it into your head by having Vegito fold his arms and casually deflect many of Buu's attacks, and then take it another step, having Vegito be turned into candy and still making a mockery of Buu as a ball of chocolate. Beyond just stomping out the main villain, Vegito's appearance and performance does a lot more than that. Something I've always appreciated about Dragon Ball is that despite what the characters say and do about being the strongest, wanting to fight alone, etc., Toriyama never forgets to humble these characters by having them eventually rely on someone else or something from someone else to secure a victory and survive the big bad for each arc. But Vegito's is a bit special. Why? because unlike those who have previously prevailed, Vegito is not his own warrior. He's a physical embodiment of two polar opposites, a true culmination of the effort of more than one person. Goku's patience as a combatant, and Vegeta's unyielding pride, fusing to create a sum greater than its two parts. Vegito doesn't only take the best of the two Saiyans, but discards the cons that comes along with the traits that they possess, making every strike he dishes earth-shattering, slowly, yet progressing toward manipulating Buu into absorbing him. And he toys with his opponents, but not to a point where he screws himself and others over for the sake of doing so. From my perspective, Vegito's creation is something that is supposed to display peak sacrifice. One of those story beats where a character sacrifices everything in order to achieve an ultimate stage of power, as the two Saiyans had to accept that they would be permanently stuck in that fusion once completed. But this done in a way that reinforces how much Dragon Ball values teamwork and companionship. I know that it's controversial to say, so I'll quickly reinforce it and continue, but almost every threat in the franchise is overcome with some form of cooperation or help from another character in the series, whether it be through fighting side by side, stalling, or whatever. And nowadays, we see this lesson get beat into our heads in literally every single arc of Dragon Ball Super. There is not a single primary antagonist that Goku and friends would have been able to overcome if they went at it solo. Sticking to this point, Vegito's appearance absolutely shifted the balance of power against Buu, finally placing him into the shoes of the heroes we've seen be terrorized by this invincible, ever-growing menace for multiple episodes. And by introducing this character who had so much power, the story managed to underscore the idea that the peak of strength can be achieved by mutual trust and teamwork. Not only this, but Vegito does this against someone who's on the same side of the coin as himself, relying on the power of others. But what Buu lacks is the previously mentioned teamwork and trust, as he forcibly absorbed all those within him. So maybe we can make the assumption that the fusion dance and Potara rings amplify the power of the users not only because they're combining their powers, but because they absolutely trust each other and share bonds. Vegito at the time of his appearance was never just an invulnerable deus ex machina who can literally defeat the entire cast of Dragon Ball combined with his legs only, but he also took the best traits of the two greatest warriors and combined them, all the while managing their flaws and displaying the true value of teamwork. Super Vegito was the ultimate warrior, physically, mentally, spiritually, and narratively. His brief appearance in the story and the subsequent 20 years of him missing have only made him more legendary, as when there's less of something, it's valued more. To move on from thematic analysis, I think speaking about Vegito's design across media is also key to understanding why I believe he's such a great representation of absolute power. He's a combination of Goku and Vegeta, yes, and we can see elements of their appearance all throughout Vegito, but what I'm focusing on here is the way that Vegito is usually artistically depicted throughout the franchise. In every artwork or game, Super Vegito, despite being as outdated as he is always shown in a manner where he's shown to be relaxed, yet exerting vast amounts of ki and electricity, as if he possesses so much power that it naturally overflows from his body and he can't do anything about it. I think the Dragon Ball Legends Ultra animation of Vegito is the greatest display of this. Whereas every character tends to open their body and focus on exerting ki, Vegito in contrast folds his arm and massive amounts of ki simply swarm his body. Of course, this is specific to the animation on a mobile game, but you get the point. They tend to do a great job at showing that Vegito doesn't even have to try for you to know that he's a pretty powerful character. And to even reinforce this point, every Dragon Ball game that includes Vegito as a playable character tends to give him an insanely powerful defensive mechanic, one that allows him to be invulnerable in certain situations, whether that be through after image strike in Sparking Zero, damage reduction in Dokkan, or his counter gauge in Legends. The list just goes on. The Dragon Ball games really like to have something that displays Super Vegito specifically as an impenetrable wall. Super Vegito's legacy as the ultimate depiction of absolute strength lies in the seamless blend of his overwhelming power, thematic significance, and his enduring appeal across all forms of media. He represents the pinnacle of teamwork, sacrifice, and trust, embodying the very essence of Dragon Ball's core values while delivering one of the most iconic displays of dominance in anime history. From his effortless obliteration of Majin Buu to his striking design and portrayal in video games, I just think his impact extends far beyond his brief time in the story. His character not only defines the idea of unbeatable strength, but also shows what it means to work together and balance people's traits in a team. Even after nearly 3 decades, Super Vegito is still that guy and everybody just does backflips when they see him. I believe he's personally the greatest representation of absolute power. And yes, I know Vegito Blue exists, and while he's pretty cool, he's not Super Vegito. With that said, thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate all the love and support, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.